Hello and welcome to the Chamber Talk Show. So happy you can be with us. Have a really powerful show for you this afternoon. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. So happy to see you guys. Good evening and welcome to the Chamber, where we discuss all things mental health. Have a great show for you today. Let me introduce the panel this afternoon. Of course, we have Dr. April Gibbons, who is a part of the Chamber Talk Show. We also have Chris Williams, who's licensed counselor as well. We have Lynn Sturtevant, who is a relationship coach, and Dr. Rael Sims, who is a neuroscientist. And I'll let them talk a little bit about themselves. But of course, we're going to dive right in. We don't want to waste any time. We only have about 30 minutes to hit this. Today, it's about relationships. But let me say this. This is not an advice show. This is a show where real life professionals who are licensed, who counsel every day, who talk about relationships, who help people get their lives back on track. These people are credentialed, everyone. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
How you doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Thank you for joining us. We know it's Sunday, it's family time, but we want to help some people. Today's show, Sis is ready for you. Okay, I'm coming first, of course, to Dr. April, because, of course, as a woman, we're out here. Where are the men? Where are the good men? Are they ready for the women mentally, emotionally, financially? Are they stable? Dr. April, what do you have to say?
Hey, well, I think, it's very important for when you first meet someone to ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of open-ended questions. Ask about anything. Nothing is off limits. So you can know that person and can determine right then and there if you want to move forward, to get to know each other even better.
Okay. All right, I want to come to Mamie. What do you have to say about that? There's so many opinions about relationships. I also have questions that I'm going to pose to you that people went onto our pages, emailed us questions that they wanted you guys to answer because they know you all are the experts in the area. What do you say? Do people need to have all three of those qualities?
And what three qualities are we talking about?
So we're talking about the man needs to be mentally, emotionally, and financially sound.
Honestly, I want to piggyback on Dr. April and start with number one, go slow. And do they need to have all three qualities? I think it's very important while you are going slow in a relationship, you want to first make sure that you show up to it and you have all three.
Right.
It better helps you to identify if it is missing in the other person. Oftentimes, what happens is I'm missing something. And when I show up, I'm looking for that person to actually feel it. And that is a problem in and of itself. So for me, it looks like this. Adam was in the garden, he was working, so I need him to have a job for sure. He was definitely financially stable because he was taking care of the garden, all of it. And emotionally, he was together because God actually brought Eve to him. He didn't even know he had a problem. He didn't even know that. So does it need to be there? Absolutely. But make sure that you go slow and take your time with whomever it is. This is not, a race here. If you're trying to make a relationship long-term lasting, take your time.
Love it. Oh, I love that. All right. I'm coming to the neuroscientist because he talks about the science behind the choices that we make. Last show, we talked about how oftentimes we make bad choices and we overlook specific qualities that we want to have in that partner. Dr. Rael.
Yeah, I would say everything that was said so far. I think it's also important to listen to self too. I think that that's really important to self, when we first meet someone, we are given signals about this person. And when we're giving those signals about this person, I think it's really important for us to be mindful of what our body is telling us of, how we feel about this person, especially when we're asking the right questions, right? When we're asking the right questions, we also have to be an empirical listener in order to respond correctly. So we really have to listen, but not only listen, but I think it's important to listen to the body as well, to listen to how that person is actually responding to you. And I think it's really important, and which means I think I can add to say body language. I think that that's pretty important too. So when we are asking those right questions, we also have to read that person when they're giving us those answers too as well. So yeah, yeah, I think that's really good.
Okay. All right. So, Lynn, this is something that you do. You are a relationship coach. Talk to us about a lot of the things that you're talking to your particular or prospective client about nowadays. What are some of the major issues that people are seeing in their relationships?
Well, we there's a theory that seems to suggest that we are attracted to people who remind us of the parent that gave us the hardest time. So one of the things I like to do is, when I first get my clients in, I say, does he remind you of mom or dad or a caretaker? Oh yeah, he definitely reminds me of my mom. And I'll ask, well, what kind of relationship did you have with mom? Well, it's kind of contentious. So okay. So here goes this pattern that we kind of fall into, in which we are attracted to people who will help us finish childhood. And if and you hear people say it all the time, I feel like I've known you all my life. Well, yeah, that makes sense, because you just pick somebody that was reminds you of a caretaker. So I try to get an assessment of where their parallels are, and if they're attracted to each other for the wrong reasons. Because initially when you meet somebody, you kind of geeked up on hormones, vasopressin, epinephrine, you know,
Dopamine.
dopamine. What's the hug hormone? I forgot the hug hormone.
Oxytocin.
Yeah, oxytocin. And so when you have all of those chemicals running through your body at one time, you don't really think straight. You don't defend yourself, and it can get you in a lot of trouble. Well, Mother Nature wants babies, so everybody's kind of you know geeked up on them hormones until you say I do, and then they leave your body. So
Yeah. I like to comment on that too.
Okay. Oh, I'm coming to Dr. Rael on that one in just a moment, but I actually want to go quickly to. We had some questions that was actually sent to the chamber, and so I want to actually have you guys address these questions. I'm coming to you first, Dr. April.
Okay, what if the man has two of the three qualities?
She didn't actually say which two of the three, but if 2 out of 3 ain't bad, that's what I've heard. But I don't know.
Well, I guess it just depends on the woman. I think everyone, there's no one size fit all, number one. So everyone, wants and needs something different from their relationship. So I think, where are you? Where are you first? I always tell people I think it's important for you to have these three qualities. So therefore you can attract someone with these three qualities. You can't expect someone to have these qualities and you don't possess them yourself.
Right.
All right. You were going to say something,
Yeah.
Williams?
Well, actually, I'll just agree with Dr. April. That's really what's important. She didn't mention, which two, but she needs to know, what are those two for you?
Right.
What are those two qualities? If 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as they say, you want to make sure that those two that are there are the two that you can actually live with. Because anything that you live with, you'll accept it. And if you accept it, you'll live with it.
All right. All right. I'm coming to you, Dr. Rael. You wanted to comment on what Lynn said, because that actually, I don't know. I don't know. I felt something when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was where I just wanted to comment on how when our brain is flooded with those chemicals, it actually has a major effect on the lateral prefrontal cortex. And that's our CEO. That's the part of the brain where we judge, where we
Decision.
make decisions, and we come to a consensus. And when it's flooded with all of those drugs at the beginning, it actually shuts it down, which means that makes us do stupid stuff. That's why when you hear people say love make you do stupid things, because you can't think straight right now, because all of the neurotransmitters have flooded the prefrontal cortex and it shuts it down. So you're not able to really make a cognitive decision right now, right? And sometimes we do stupid things, right? So we have to wait until the drugs actually decrease so we can surface, come back up to surface and actually see the real life. And then we're able to make a cognitive, a mature decision. So, yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. When it comes to the brain and the science, is like, yeah. So,
Speaking of
yeah.
decisions, are we out here just making piss poor decisions? I'm gonna say you guys are having a council every day, couples. We got I see relationship coaches everywhere now. I see. I just had lunch with after church with Mamie, and we talked about it, and we're talking about relationships and people that that she is seeing on a regular basis. Are we continuing to make poor decisions when it comes to the other person, or is it that we all have so much baggage? I don't know.
Well, in all honesty, I think it's a little bit of both or all of that. Um, I think people come to relationships thinking that it's not going to require work. Relationships require work because you have two people coming from totally different family dynamics. Top to bottom, things are totally different. And so when we show up, we either show up again looking for the person to give us what we don't have. And if I don't have it, then I'm not able to actually recognize it. So when you give it, it's like, I come to the relationship 350, meaning I'm half. You come 350. That doesn't mean we're going to end up with a 700 credit score and we good. That just means we got two half people who are showing up needing and missing something. And so I think it's a combination of all of those things. And as Dr. April and I said earlier, when you enter into a relationship, you have to make sure that you are whole. Have you done the work on you so that you are better able to identify what it is that you actually want? Do we show up and just, in these piss poor kind of and make all these decisions? Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm seeing here quite a bit. And sometimes I hesitate to take on another couple because even that's work, because now I'm having to try and look at this dynamic here and there, but they're both in the room at the same time. And when you have one person, what I love about couples is I will counsel with the female by themselves, the male by himself, and then I bring them together without fail. When I talk to her, she has the problem. When I talk to him, he has the problem. When I bring them together, the problems never match. Never. Never. So here you
Yes,
are,
right.
these two people who have been together or,
Right.
just got together.
Right.
You can't be on the same page because what he sees as the issue, she does not, and vice versa. So we end up in this struggle. And here I am in the midst, referee. So, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
The credit, and I am going to let you guys speak to that real quick, but we do have a quick question from someone who had a question about credit that she sent to the Chamber Talk Show group.
Is bad credit a deal breaker for a solid relationship?
For me, it
Wow.
Okay, Dr. Eric, take it away. I want to hear what you have to say about that.
I mean, because like I said, you need to possess the qualities that you want in another person. Hey, my credit score is high. So I'm gonna need you to come to the table with an equal or somewhere. It don't have to be excellent, but it needs to be good because we have to put something with something to make something happen.
Mm. All right, so gentlemen, I've got to hear from you about the man being the provider, the protector. I mean, what are the solid foundations or the solid qualities that men should possess before they ask a woman to marry them?
Well, you see, that's tricky. 85% of black boys don't grow up with a father in the house. So in terms of imprinting and or prototype, you're asking me to replicate a behavior I've never seen. So we're talking about for most males, for most black males anyway, you're talking about an acquired taste. So whether you get that skill set from a male who mentors you, which is important. Maybe it's a uncle or a brother or somebody who has those qualities. Because once I get into a relationship, if the only place I get my relationship ideas from is MTV and rap videos, then it's going to be a very tricky relationship.
Okay.
So,
All right. So I
mentorship.
want you to answer this. Thank you. I want you to answer this question, Dr. Rael. This is the question, and it's how do you handle a guy who has a job, supportive emotionally, but refuses to deal with his mental health issues? This person did not say what the mental health issue was. How do you balance that? What do you do? Is this somebody that you just drop and say, I can't handle this? Do you work on it?
I think it's important to let a person know that to me, if you're not taking care of yourself, it says to me that you're not loving yourself. And it's important that you love yourself in order for me to love you. And in order for me to even believe that you love me, because when you're taking care of yourself, you're saying it's important for me to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm well enough to make sure that I'm taking care of you. So if you're not taking care of yourself, it says a lot about how much do you love self. I remember times that I would complain about my stomach, right? I look in the mirror and go, whoa, my stomach is pretty big here, right? And if I'm going to complain about it and do nothing about it, then I'm telling my stomach that I don't care about you. I'm saying to myself that I don't really care about you, right? I'm complaining about it, but I'm not doing anything about it. So I don't care about you. But when I am doing something about it, it says to myself that I'm taking the steps to say I love me, right? Because that's part of loving self is taking care of self. So I think that that's really important. So if you don't love yourself, it's I don't know how I can really believe in you loving me because you're not loving yourself. And it's important for me to know that you love yourself before we even venture into the relationship arena. Yeah.
Right. And it's hard for you to accept love from someone else if you don't love yourself because you second guess everything that other person does and says because you don't feel like you're worthy of it.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't know how to love yourself, I'll make you take care of me. I'm going to present that age regression into the relationship because and especially if I don't have the prototype on how to love myself, then I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. But that's really important. It's really important to
Right.
know how.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna come to the
Yeah.
ladies on this one because do we as women do we excuse a lot of behaviors? This last question that I received from someone who watches the show often, and if you are just joining the show, I have a panel of experts on it. This is not an advice column. These are real life people that have professions, that have done the work. They have achieved a lot. Okay, a lot, a great deal of work put in. Nothing was given. Everybody on this panel, we have achieved. a great deal. So I want to say again, thank you. So if you're just joining us, so I want to run to this question quickly. Now I want to actually speak to Dr. April and Miss Williams because a lot of times women we tend to overlook some things. So this is one question that I have. This may be the last question. Okay, that's not it. Oh, yeah. If the guy is mentally and emotionally, did we do this one?
No.
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 Okay. Okay. If he's mentally and emotionally stable, but in between jobs, I'm not quite sure what that means. If he's been out of work for a year, a month, a day, I don't know exactly what that means. But ladies, speak to me about that because I think sometimes when we make bad choices in the other person, we overlook a lot of their qualities.
I
I'll
don't
just
necessarily think that's a deal breaker because they're in between jobs. It just depends on, where you are in your relationship. If this someone that you're married to, if this someone that you've been with for years, okay, life happens. So that's something that you deal with your partner.
okay.
And again, just to add to Dr. April, it does. It depends on Sarah.
Mhm.
And Sarah's the one who's asking the question. So it depends, Sarah, on what do you need? What do you need? Because when you talk about in between jobs, that means if he's in between jobs, he had a job before. So if you continue to support him, then he can get another job because those
Right.
other two things that are in place are more are equally as important, and they're already there. You said he's stable emotionally, he's got that. So if you're emotionally stable, you can get another job. So that's going to be, a call for Sarah to say, hey, depending on how long you've been in this relationship, what this person actually means to you, and how you want to move forward.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's a deal breaker.
Not a deal breaker. All right. So we're moving to close to a close of the show because we only run about 30 minutes. So I'm going to come to each of you so you can actually just kind of give that person that's out there watching. So we have quite a few viewers on our YouTube channel. What would you say to both male or female, not just for the female? What would you say to them in terms of, first of all, making their relationship more solid, or what advice would you give them before they take that leap into the next relationship? All right, and I'm gonna start with
Did you hear that? That was a little broken up for me.
Yeah, you cutting out.
oh, I did. I cut out.
Mhm.
Okay, can you hear me? Because I hear some feedback from someone. Can you guys hear me now?
It's when you talk, Dr. Manning. It's
Okay,
when that's the part that's actually it's only happening when you talk. It's very chopped up.
Yeah.
okay. Not
Is
sure.
your phone on silent?
Yes. Can you hear me now? No.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you. It's just
Oh,
choppy.
okay.
But
All
go
right.
ahead.
Okay. Final words then from everybody. Final words.
Well, I just want to say when it comes to relationships, in order to actually, first of all, relationships grow. You bring yourself to the relationship whole,
Mhm.
mentally, emotionally, financially. You be stable. And when you show up at the table, look for what you brought and let it grow. If it isn't there, decide early on that you can walk away. Nobody's going to die.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And you said how to keep it stable. How to keep it stable. I believe is that what you said?
Yes.
As well, doctor. Yeah, I think to in a relationship, I think it's really important for novelty to end the relationship, right? To add new things, do new things when it comes to making that relationship strong, right? Um, one of my examples is, when you have people to jump off the mountains with the parachute, right? So just before they jump off the mountains, they're experiencing a anticipation from no our dopaminergic area part of the brain. So we're experiencing dopamine. So once we jump and we hit the ground, we're experiencing serotonin, right? So, but what happens is we keep doing that, but then it becomes boring. So, what do? We go out and we try to find another mountain to jump off of. That's the novelty. But what happens is sometimes as a couple, one is going to find that other mountain and the other one is still trying to jump over in that old mountain. It's like, no, come on, both of us need to go, right? Versus one trying to find something. And sometimes it's not a good thing, right? So novelty is really important to keep that relationship fresh. Doing new things, even if it's just getting in the car and driving to a suburb that you've never been to before and having a conversation and then come back, just as easy as that. That's novelty. So, yeah.
All right. Lynn?
Well, I would say to kind of get out of your head a little bit and come see somebody like myself, relationship coach, and begin the process of discovering yourself and each other. And usually you need a third party to kind of guide you through that. You know, things that you didn't know, things that you do know, secrets that I bring into the relationship, secrets that you bring into the relationship. All of those things need to be made bare so that we can make better decisions, understand how we are the way we are, and how our past is going to impact the relationship.
So
I
I
want
heard.
to piggyback on that because I say something that most people haven't said when it comes to relationships. Don't be afraid to leave a toxic relationship. I counsel couples all the time, and in the back of my head, when I'm listening to them, I want to say so bad, won't you just break up? But of course, I can't say that. I,
Right,
start
right, right,
asking open-ended questions to make
right.
them come to the realization of, do we really need to be together? A lot of times people stay together because, they newly have babies. But if you're in something that is violent, you're fighting each other, you're arguing every day for just minute things, you're triggering each other because you're bringing your background from your family and they're bringing their background from their family into this relationship, and you continue to bump heads. Sometimes it's time to let go and go your separate ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just knowing when to say
It's okay
it's
to
time
let
to
go.
go.
Mhm.
All right, I love it. Our
Right.
time has crept up. It's pretty much over. We always like to end on an affirmation. Of course, Dr. April just pretty much wrapped up this whole thing for us. Sometimes it's time to just say goodbye, let it go, move forward, go from there. So, again, thank you all for taking time out to come on the show this afternoon. Appreciate it. You guys can definitely go out and see different shows on the Chamber Talk Show's YouTube channel. We have over 200 videos out there. So, thanks again, you all. I'll let Dr. April in on a positive affirmation.
So the affirmation for today is, my partner and I give our relationship the time and attention it deserves.
All righty. So, again, we appreciate you all for coming on. Sis is ready. Hopefully, you gathered some great information that you can take back with you and that you can use. Be sure to join us again next month for another edition of